One more minute here. Thanks for your patience.
Hey, Bob, here's a quick audio check. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Ryan. Thank you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Good evening. We're going to reconvene the board meeting now. And the first thing we need to do is call to order and then establish a quorum. So before we do anything else, we'll go down the line and we'll start with you, Ryan, that is remote and publicly noticed that you're in Austin, Texas. So Ryan, are you here?
I'm here.
Christy.
Here.
David.
Here.
Bill. And Bob Weller. With that said, I'm really happy to see so many faces here tonight. This is super exciting. Are we giving away free stuff? All right, this is really great. I appreciate you all coming. And we do have the mission and vision. Did we decide if anyone's going to read that out? We'll share it. Ryan, do you happen to have the mission or vision handy? Because I had it, but I don't have it handy.
I can pull it up pretty easily because I've got the website.
Oh, wait, you're
open.
remote, so we won't do that. Do one of you have it, Christy? There was a copy on my desk here.
Hey, Bob, I can read it. I got it right here in front of me.
Okay, go for it, Ryan. And you're
Our
going to need to
mission.
speak up a little bit.
Okay, our mission: empowering every student to graduate prepared for college, career, and life through excellence in learning. Our vision: we relentlessly pursue with optimism equitable support for all students to navigate a changing world by providing rigorous and relevant learning experiences that strengthen their capacity as open-minded and invested collaborators, effective and thoughtful communicators, resourceful and creative problem solvers, curious and analytical critical thinkers, and informed and compassionate community members.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. And we will now move on to the Pledge of Allegiance, who will be led by Christy Knight.
And place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of the Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kind of nice with everything going on in the world right now that we can all stand and do that. So thank you for all doing that. So the next we have is a report of action taken out in closed session. And Bill, you have that?
I do. In closed session, the board took action by a vote of 5-0 to ratify the termination by operation of law of employee number 543983, who was a permanent certificated employee of the district who worked as a classroom teacher. The roll call vote was as follows: ayes, Williams, Vincent, Weller, Durney, Knight. In additional action, the board voted to unanimously to ratify a separation agreement with one certificated employee, a teacher, employee number 602084. The roll call vote was as follows: ayes, Williams, Vincent, Weller, Durney, and Knight. And in closed session on motion of board member Durney, seconded by board member Knight, the Board of Education voted to approve graduation waivers case numbers 59 through 65 for the 2024-25 school year by a roll call vote as follows: approval, Knight, Durney, Weller, Williams, Vincent. And that concludes my report for action taken in closed session.
Very good. Thank you. And then we're going to ask for the approval of board meeting minutes. Superintendent, are all votes a roll call vote tonight? All vote. We got it. All right, so need a motion and second for approval of the minutes of meeting May 13th.
So moved.
Second.
We'll go down the line. We'll start with Ryan.
Aye.
Thank you. And Christy Knight,
Aye.
Dave Vincent,
Aye.
Bill Durney,
Aye.
and Bob Weller is aye. All right, we move on to item C6, approval of board workshop minutes. Before we do that, also, we do have all minutes, both on the board docs, and we also have a YouTube channel, is that correct? That you can see the entire video of past meetings. So for a while, we were just publishing the JPEG or MP3s rather of the meetings, but now they're fully on. So thank you, tech department. So
The audio archives go way, way back. Archiving video started.
very good. So when we approve these minutes, if you have any questions on it, you're able to go and look at the past as well. So for item C6, can I get an motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We'll start again with trustee Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. Knight,
Aye.
Vincent,
Aye.
Gurney,
Aye.
Weller, aye. Very good. Lots of meeting minutes for approval. Item C7, approval of special board meeting minutes of June 10th, 2025. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, call the vote. So then again, Ryan, starting with you.
Aye.
Knight,
Aye.
Vincent,
Aye.
Gurney,
Aye.
and Weller is aye. So far tonight, I'm sure you're extremely impressed with the board, the way we run here, that it's so interesting. The students, you're learning about Robert's Rules of Order, so it's completely boring. Thank goodness you have social media on your phones to look at in the front row there. Hello. You're good. I have teenagers too. All right, so now we're going to move on to where did we leave off? C7. We're going to go to C8, which is the approve of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections for this?
Are none.
There are none. All right, so we'll get a motion and a second.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Very good. Call the vote. So here again, Ryan Williams.
Aye.
Thank you, Christy Knight.
Aye.
Thank you, David Vincent,
Aye.
Bill Durney,
Aye.
and Bob Weller. Aye. All right, that passes. So now we move on to item C9, which is approval of consent calendar items on the agenda marked with an asterisk. So these are typical board approval items that are come up every month for contracts and things. You can see them in the agenda, but for brevity and speed, we put it under what's known as consent. And so we're going to ask for a second, or a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar.
I move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Again. Oh, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, and a roll call vote. Ryan,
Aye.
Christy Knight,
Aye.
David Vincent,
Aye.
Bill Durney,
Aye.
and Bob Weller. So then typically also, since with Ryan was here, we wouldn't have to do a roll call vote, but that's why we're kind of moving through it kind of quick. All right, we're going to move into section now D, recognition and presentations. And so this is the fun part where a superintendent can give student and staff recognition. So Mr. Peterson.
Thank you. Normally, we don't have student and staff recognitions during summer break at the June and August meetings, but tonight I wanted to retain the item for special recognition. It is both a privilege and a bittersweet moment to recognize Dr. Good tonight as he prepares to take on his new role as superintendent of the Tamalpais Union High School District. Over the last few years, I've had the great honor of working closely with him, first as a board member and then as a superintendent. And I can say without hesitation that he is one of the most principled, thoughtful, and effective leaders I know. Dr. Good brought vision, integrity, and a steady hand to our human resources department. He led with clarity, transparency, and empathy, qualities that have earned him the trust of our employees, our board, and the entire community. His work has had a lasting impact from strengthening our hiring practices to helping establish the partnership with Project Next at Escondido High School. While we're certainly sad to see him go, we're also incredibly proud. Public education needs leaders like Dr. Good, leaders who bring people together, who do hard things with grace, and who never lose sight of what's best for students. Dr. Good, thank you for everything you've given to this district. We wish you continued success in this next chapter. We're so lucky to have you up. Thank you. I'd like to present you with this plaque. Send it to Dr. Courtney Good in appreciation of your dedicated service and commitment to the Escondido High School District. Value contribution, lasting in 2020.
Because you have been here for a while. Trustee Knight, would you like to say some things?
I think that's the same plaque I got as student board member in '94. So thank you to our local trophy shop because they do keep the same ones around. But I think that, yes, Northern California is going to be better off with you up there serving that community. And I wish you and your family the best in the next chapter of your life. And just thank you for the service to our community. And it's been wonderful getting to know you. Thank you.
Ryan, did you want to say anything?
No, just a general appreciation for all the things that he's done. You know, I've only been able to work with him for, you know, a small amount of time, relatively speaking, for this board, but I definitely appreciate his contributions, his I guess general nature as well, and it's been a great honor to work with him, and I wish him the best.
David?
Christy, are you saying they repurposed that plaque for him?
We have budget cuts.
You know how I feel about you. You're a great guy. I really enjoyed our interaction and your leadership. And I think your new job, the win for them. You're a great guy. Thank you. Appreciate everything. Stay in touch too.
As I've said before, I wish you weren't going, but you are. Oh, well. I hope you enjoy it up there. It's not like Southern California, but it's their gain.
I think the term that will remain in my head forever from here is, I'm pleased to bring before the board the following action. I think we're going to have to put, yeah, we're going to have to do that. I appreciate that. That was very good. In a society that has turned language to be pretty brutal, I appreciate seeing that. So we will see you at CSBA every year, we hope, and look forward to hearing of the good things that you do there. So thank you, Dr. Good. All right. You don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting, I guess.
Has to stay.
Yeah.
No, he's going to stick it out with us.
Item D2, recognize employees of the year. This is pretty exciting. So Superintendent Peterson.
Thank you. I'm pleased to bring before the board recognition of our employees of the year. And so I would like to invite Valley High School Principal Jose Espinosa to recognize Monica Lee, our District Teacher of the Year.
Hold on 1 second.
Never. Okay, here we go. All right. So good evening, everyone. It is my great honor to present to you Valley High School's Teacher of the Year and the Teacher of the Year for the Escondido Union High School District, Ms. Monica Lee. For the past 12 years, Monica has led the Responsibility Training Program at Valley High School, known as RTP. This program is a first step for students who transfer to our school. Through RTP, students learn essential life skills such as anger management, the importance of showing up, recognizing personal stressors, and much, much more. Monica empowers her students with tools not only for academic success, but for life beyond the classroom. But her impact extends beyond RTP and Valley. Monica is also deeply committed to community service. As the advisor of the Interact Club, she guides students in giving back to the city of Escondido through meaningful service projects. He also organizes annual Great Day 5K Valley team runs, where both staff and students come together to proudly support their city. Monica's influence is felt across the state as well. She is a sought-after presenter at the California Continuation Education Association CCEA Plus conference, where she shares her expertise, mentors educators from across California looking to implement RTP at their own schools. I had the privilege of attending the conference and witnessed Monica walking down a hallway after her presentation, surrounded by educators eager to learn from her. It was quite a sight. Most recently, Monica was at the field at Petco Park during San Diego Padres, a teacher appreciation event, proudly waving her Valley High School t-shirt in front of thousands of fans. Perhaps the most telling measure of her impact came during the LCAP Student Forum at Valley High School, where students were asked, what motivated you to engage more in learning? Monica Lee said to the students, "Thank you, Monica, for your dedication and service, and congratulations." Well,
Can I say something really quick? As a former student, Monica, as a former student of Valley, I really know the impact that you're having on these kids. So thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Hey, Marie, the next time, I know we have more awards, but Marie, the next time we need to make sure there's more Kleenex here, please.
Good. Now, at this time, I would like to invite Del Lago Academy Principal Christy Kalish to come up and present our Classified Employee of the Year, Jose Gonzalez.
All right. Good evening, members of the board, Board President Weller, Superintendent Peterson, EUHSD Cabinet, and esteemed guests. It is my great honor as the principal of Del Lago Academy to recognize our EUHSD Classified Employee of the Year and Del Lago's very own, Mr. Jose Gonzalez. Jose has been a valued member of our DLA community since 2016 when he first joined us as an instructional aide. He later transitioned into his current role in security, where he has become a cornerstone of our campus culture. His presence is steady, calm, and deeply committed to the safety and well-being of every scholar, staff member, and family at DLA. Jose is someone who not only shows up, he shows up with purpose. Whether managing a stressful situation with clarity and compassion, mentoring students on the soccer field, or supporting his colleagues across departments, Jose consistently goes above and beyond. He's the kind of teammate who quietly steps in to fill a custodial shift, remembers scholars' schedules by heart, and always makes time for restorative conversations that build trust and connection. Our scholars trust him, our staff rely on him, and our community is stronger because of him. As the coach of our boys soccer team, Jose leads far more than practices and games. He fosters discipline, leadership, and confidence in the young people he mentors, helping them grow not just as athletes, but as individuals. He exemplifies what it means to lead with empathy, humility, and integrity. He's the person who sees what needs to be done and does it, not for recognition, but because it's what's right for the school community he cares so deeply about. It is a privilege to celebrate a staff member who so fully embodies the values of DLA and of this district. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Jose Gonzalez, our Classified Employee of the Year. We are proud of you, grateful for you, and inspired by you every day. Congratulations, Jose.
Any other? Nope, that's it for that section. So David, I'm going to have to ask you to remain seated for D3, the robotics presentation by Mia Funk. Please keep your hands and arms inside the vehicle at all times.
I've been waiting for this for a long time. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you, esteemed board and cabinet, for allowing me to take this opportunity to review the progress that we've made towards robotics and mechatronics here at Escondido. I'll start with how our story began. Back in 2020, we partnered with UC San Diego for the Center of Research on Education, Assessment, and Teaching Excellence, also known as CREATE, and we launched a program called CS Listen. It was a youth participatory action research initiative where high school students were partnered with co-researchers with PhD candidates, and they worked on strategies that promoted computer science in our district. Between 21-22 school year and the 24-25 school year, we increased enrollment by more than 130 students in computer science. This early success in CS Listen sparked new ambitions. And in 2023, we partnered with the K-16 Collaborative Border Region Talent Pipeline. This partnership funded teacher professional learning at the Computer Science Teacher Association Conference, where our teachers learned Python and drone technology. The computer science teachers also received drone coding kits at each of the comprehensive school sites. San Pasqual Super Nerds have been supported with equipment through this funding, and moving into next year, it will be able to support a pilot robotics course. This elective is the foundation for a full robotics and mechatronics CTE pathway. We'll aim at high-skill, high-wage careers in advanced manufacturing, computer science, and engineering. During the 25-26 school year, we will refine our units of study, and our student outcomes will align the curriculum with engineering, mechatronics, and advanced manufacturing. We'll make sure to include 21st century skills, real industry needs, and will emphasize hands-on, project-based learning aligned with employment pathways. We will engage with our local colleges to identify early college credit opportunities, and we'll explore strategies for supporting math intervention through real-world and contextualized learning, such as UC Davis C-STEM robotics math programs. To further develop this program to meet the career technical education requirements, we will spend this time to identify a teacher with 3 or more years and experience in the industry. We may need to offer partial teaching assignments to expand this into a full course sequence as interest and capacity grows. We will work towards finding a teacher with a CTE credential because this allows us to apply for additional supplemental funding, which can purchase the equipment, instructional materials, and computing and robotics tools required for the program. It will be worth it because robotics and mechatronics empowers students with the skills, knowledge, and experiences needed to succeed in high-wage, high-demand industries, to thrive in college and career pathways, and to lead innovative, technology-driven futures. Together, we can ignite our student potential and transform futures through technology and education.
I've been told to hold off on a lot of questions.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it anyhow.
I just want to record, though, that you were within inside of 5 minutes. So the next 3 hours are all attributed to David.
5 minutes listed right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
you did it. So anything after this is charged to him, not to you.
Okay, well, I want to thank you so much. You know how much I love technology, and this is something that I'm very happy that you're implementing. And when John told me this, I was so excited because this is our future. Robotics, AI technology is where we need to be to maintain our competitive edge in the world and that. And you doing this is a good introduction for our students to feel what it's like working with robotics. I work with robotics, automation for filling medicine, as well as medical device assembly. So this is something that I'm very passionate, and I really hope this takes off because I think it'll be very beneficial for our kids in math, understanding a lot about electronics, and this is going to be great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing this.
Thank you, David.
Anybody else?
I did have one question. So on the screen exploring the path, explore mathematic integration. How was UC Davis chosen for that, or why was UC Davis chosen? And is that the only college that we're going to be interacting with?
No, it will not be the only college that we can interact with. We're exploring UC Davis because they've had several years implementing their C-STEM curriculum. It is offered at elementary, middle, and high school. So it is something that's research-based and has been foundational for many districts. It also has project-based learning integrated in the units of study. So it's something that we'll be able to fold into multidisciplinary projects.
And then again, just C-STEM, what's the C?
Computing,
Thank you. And then science, technology.
education, mathematics.
Thank you. For us that don't have the acronym folder in front of us.
We like alphabet soup.
Yes. Christy, did you have something?
I was just going to see if, I know that we partner with a lot of the local community colleges as well, but I know Miracosta has a really great, affordable advanced manufacturing pathway that I think would probably align nicely, or however we could try to look at really exploring that, because I know from what I've seen, it's affordable for ours.
And it's close.
So very cool. Thank you, Mia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, that set the bar very high for presentations under 10 minutes. So now we're held accountable going forward. And now we're going to go to the facilities master plan D4, and I'm going to hand that off to, okay. Yes, Amanda.
Not sure we're going to win tonight, but I'm going to hand it over to Kristen to give us an update on where we are and how the engagement process has been going with our facilities master plan.
All right. No pressure to be quick. Good evening, everyone. Superintendent Peterson, Board President Weller, and members of the board. My name is Kristen Rose. I have come before you previously to introduce our master plan, and we are here today to give you an update on what we've heard so far. Let's get started. Just a review for the master planning process. We've gone through data collection, getting an understanding of all of your existing conditions and historical elements related to your facilities, as well as your enrollment. That gives us some context and some understanding for your district and your facilities. We have completed facility assessments, so our assessment teams have been out to all of the sites and have completed detailed assessments of all your building systems. And what we're going to talk about tonight primarily is our stakeholder engagement. So we've had visioning sessions with leadership, and we've had community engagement with your site teams, your administrators, staff, students, and we've also had some input from your community via a community survey. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. In progress, currently, we are working on the master plan scopes of work and cost estimates. These are informed by all of that information gathering in the previous phases. And then that builds the implementation plan that says, here's how we might align priorities, costs, and our visioning workshop. We met with district and site leadership. Participants engaged in live polling and hands-on activities. To develop an understanding of values, challenges, ideas, and priorities. This was a hands-on workshop. We had the privilege of having a board member participate as well. And so this was really all about understanding a broad vision for facilities and the ways in which they are intended to support educational outcomes. This is kind of a summary of what we heard in that session. Overall, there's a desire to design for engaging learning experiences, for creating experiences that are interactive, hands-on, collaborative, meaningful, connected to the real world. And I think that ties nicely with what we just heard, right, about robotics. I think there is an overall consensus when it comes to the values associated with that type of learning. This group sees education being impacted by technology, specifically advancements in artificial intelligence. And so what does the future of education look like within that context? And they understand the need to create more individualized learning opportunities that promote critical thinking and some of those deeper learning skills. When we asked about what qualities make for ideal learning environments, we used some live polling software to collect input and then help us to facilitate discussions. Some of the things that came out of those discussions were ideas around flexible spaces, safe environments, inclusive atmospheres, comfortable settings, modern infrastructure, collaborative areas, and incorporation of student support programs. We did ask specific questions related to athletic facilities. That is a topic that is a hot topic within your district at all stakeholder levels. The top priority regarding athletic facilities was aquatics, followed by gyms or auxiliary gyms, and then ancillary spaces such as wrestling, dance, or weight rooms, and then track and field spaces. When it came to building consensus and understanding user engagement, we met with student groups, school site councils, and site staff groups. So we really wanted to do a deep dive in understanding the user experience. And so we had some activities that helped the students and the staff to kind of generate and help us understand what their experience is and what their desired experiences are. For students, your students really understand the need for infrastructure as it relates to their physical comfort. Things like restrooms came up, things like making sure environments were comfortable to be in, the air conditioning and things like that. So they do understand the need for infrastructure improvements, and they were able to articulate that to us. They are looking for more structured socialization spaces. Obviously, you've got a lot of teenagers and they want to socialize, but they are looking for spaces that have maybe some more structured activities, even collaboration spaces such as libraries and things like that, and reworking maybe what those types of spaces can do for students. They're also looking for versatile activity spaces. So there's a lot of need for spaces for meetings with clubs and other extracurricular activities outside of the primary academic program. And so they're looking for opportunities to get together with those groups. And then enhanced athletic facilities. So looking at spaces for football team rooms, ROTC fitness areas, dedicated aquatic program spaces. So not just the primary athletic spaces, but some of those support spaces that help to make that a nicer program for them. In the classroom, they're looking for autonomy, as most students this age are. And the way that presents itself in the classroom is options for seating, flexible seating, the ability to rearrange a space. And this is something that was also reflected by staff, the ability to rearrange a space, have a flexible or adaptable space that could accommodate different teaching modalities.
So they've been wanting soft furniture for 100 years. It's not going to happen.
I don't necessarily think that they want all soft furniture. They just want a variety of options. One of the things, for example, that we heard from Del Lago Academy students is that they really appreciate the furniture that they have there, such as the writable desk. They find that very useful when they're doing math problems or things like that. So useful furniture that they can rearrange, I think really satisfies that need that they're looking for. What?
Oh, sofa.
Not necessarily. I mean, when you
I'm
can get
thinking
into
bean bags, you know.
yeah,
so-
no, we can get it. There's all kinds of different options when it comes to soft furniture. From a design perspective, an architectural perspective, bean bags wouldn't necessarily be practical in a school setting. They're probably not very durable, but there are other options for soft seating if you're looking for that kind of thing. Typically, when we think about soft seating, or we might propose to add soft seating, we might do that in specific areas such as a library, media center, or a student union type space where you have a bunch of different options for seating. Really, it's looking at how do we create a variety or a good mix that works for the function of that space, right?
Thank you for explaining that.
Integrated technology. Students overwhelmingly told us that they were on their devices on a regular basis. They were using that as part of their curriculum. It is integrated into everything that they do, but in order to make that function well, they really need that infrastructure to support it as well. Display areas for student communication. One of the things that they said that they'd like more of is more opportunities to display outside of the classroom, creating graphics or things that create a sense of school pride on their campus, but also an opportunity to communicate around events or social activities or what have you that's happening on campus. And then campus safety and maintenance. A lot of the students identified that safety was a top priority. And when we asked them to dive a little bit deeper in understanding what are the things that make them feel safe, beyond the standard, secure areas within the campus, one of the things that they said was, when the campus feels clean and well maintained, I feel safer. And so that was one of the things that kind of came up from the students. The site council, this is the site council's administrators, staff, and parents. So anybody who participated in the meetings that we had for those meetings, they prioritized security and visitor management. So again, aligning with some of the things that the students said, their focus was more about secure points of entry, making sure that the access to campuses was controlled, that even once you get into an administration, there wasn't necessarily, they don't want a way for you to enter into the rest of the campus, right? Large group spaces, so spaces that accommodate large group gatherings, performing arts, gymnasiums, libraries, they saw those as valuable investments, right? Something that would impact the greatest amount of students and would really support their desired educational outcomes. For technical education facilities, the staff and parents emphasize support for hands-on, real-world learning spaces, culinary labs, automotive shops, college and career centers, really focusing on how do we create opportunities for those career-centered pathways. Comfortable and healthy learning environments. Again, that goes back to making sure the basic needs are met. Are the spaces comfortable? Are the restrooms available, etc. Outdoor learning spaces, there's a broad support for outdoor areas, really maximizing the learning area and extending that classroom space. And then technology-ready classrooms. Again, same as students, they see technology being integrated into the curriculum on a regular basis. And so they would like to remove any barriers to using that by creating strong infrastructure around it. We also asked your community about their priorities. And so we issued a community survey. I believe it's open until the 20th. As a publication, we had about 353 total respondents. You can still take the survey. So by all means, go onto the website and click the link and share your priorities with us. Just kind of a breakdown of representation so far. We've got broad representation, especially from parents, and then kind of equal across teachers, community members, and other employees. And then you can kind of see a little bit less for alumni, students, and then partner organizations. In terms of site representation, relatively even representation across your comprehensive sites, so that's good. That's something that we always want to see. And then there is representation across all of the sites that we asked about.
A question here because I'm looking back at student priorities and stuff and their demographics. According to the pie chart, it looks like there's maybe 2% of the respondents were students, which would
This
be
is a separate survey.
which
Yeah, so we went to the students specifically. So I went and met at each of the sites. We met with classes of students and asked them and facilitated workshops with them.
okay.
And so the student priorities come from those discussions. And then this community survey is a broad survey open to anyone in the community.
Okay, because at 2%, that's only 6 or 7 students.
yeah.
And I was hoping that the student priorities weren't based on just
No, this is separate. They have the opportunity, students can also, if they weren't, for example, part of those workshops that we had with students, that really when we look for user understanding, we're doing a much deeper dive than say a survey. It's an opportunity to get their input. They do some collaborative activities, and then we have deeper discussions about specific areas of interest for them. And so that's where those user priorities have been synthesized from. This survey is in addition to that and asks them very specific questions about certain project types and then provides them an opportunity for some open-ended responses. Typically, what we get from these surveys is much more of your external stakeholders, your parents and community members who might not be on a site on a daily basis. So,
real quick then follow up on that because you met with student groups. What kind of student groups was that?
Primarily with your ASB groups, so the student representatives from each of those sites. I think a couple of the classes, we had some ROTC groups in there as well, but they were selected by the sites.
I also on that graph, reading down the list, I really appreciate the granularity of what you posted, and it's interesting because I feel a lot of us a lot of time get going green shoved down our throats, and it's really not a high priority.
Yes.
So I appreciate noticing that.
Yes. Yeah, so we asked them about some specific categories when it comes to project scopes. This helps us inform the master plan in terms of prioritizing certain types of projects. You do have some interesting feedback. I was actually telling staff the other day that this is probably one of the first districts where I haven't seen parking at the top of the list. So that was interesting as well. It might speak to, the fact that you're a high school district and you probably don't have as many parents parking on site. And so that might be different as well. It wasn't something that necessarily came up from students either, right?
I find it interesting that safety's right at the top of the list there.
Yes.
And what kind of feedback were you getting on safety and concerns?
I don't know that we have some of the open-ended on here, but we can definitely dive into that for you as well. We do plan on providing you with a more detailed draft of the plan before it gets published or adopted, and so we can kind of talk about some of those granular elements as well.
That's pretty important, safety, because without a strong, safe environment, a lot of anxiety, that kind of
Yeah, when we
emotional
did the-
issues.
Yes, when we did the user meetings, we asked them, a lot of people identified safety as a top priority. And one of the things I always like to ask is, what does safety mean to you? Because that looks different in every community. As an example, I also did the Tamalpais master plan. Safety is very different up there. Do not put a fence in. They want access to their schools, right? Safety is different here. Students and teachers and staff want to feel like they're going into a secure environment, but they want it to be welcoming, right? And so it's finding that balance of how do we create physical security? How do we create a sense of enhanced security through technology? But also, how do we create a welcoming environment, something that's, nice landscaping and it's well maintained and upkept and things like that. And so your students and staff both acknowledge that all of those things make up that feeling of safety for them.
Does that include like intimidation, bullying, all that too?
We didn't necessarily talk about the social aspects of it. We really focused on the facilities aspect of it, which elements of the facilities help you feel safe. So that would be kind of a tangential question to what we're talking about here. So top priority safety, followed by CTE, physical education, so on and so forth. And like you said, going green. Down towards the bottom, curb appeal was a little bit further down. I think that speaks to the idea that your community probably sees your schools as being in good condition, and they really are. But I think, we need to also factor into how does that curb appeal also work in conjunction with site safety and security. So when we look at all of those things, right, we've got our visioning session with leadership, and we've got our user understanding meetings with all of our staff and students, and then we've got our community survey. How do we start to synthesize this information and build some consensus around some big ideas? And so here's what we've developed that will inform the master plan and that you can expect to see in regards to some of the scopes of work that we're identifying. And so it's safe, secure, and welcoming campuses, modern, flexible learning environments, student support spaces, real-world learning and CTE opportunities, arts and expression through creative spaces, technology that enables success, social spaces that build community, and school facilities that reflect school pride and purpose. So our next steps for the master plan are to finalize scopes and costs. And so that's really making sure that we've dialed in on the types of projects that we're proposing, and then understanding the cost impacts at a budget level, right? And then finalizing the implementation plan. And so that's starting to align what are our priorities. Are there projects that should be prioritized sooner than others? Are there projects that need to be prioritized based on life cycle needs for assistance, et cetera? And then to review the draft plan, and that'll be an opportunity for you guys to get a deep dive on the draft plan and give us some direct feedback, and then we'll bring it back for adoption. Any other questions?
I had a question regarding in terms of just the general condition of all the facilities. That was part of this project as well, right? HVAC
Yes,
systems and everything to go with that.
Yes, we have a detailed assessment from our assessment team, and that will be part of the facility master plan. To give you a high level view of that, in general, your facilities are well maintained. And so what you'll typically see are not a lot of immediate needs. When we look at immediate needs, that's looking at things that are maybe failed or haven't been addressed. Not a lot of those. We are anticipating that you'll have some planned life cycle needs when it comes to building systems. All buildings age, and so we need to plan for that. But looking just kind of a cursory look at what I've seen so far, those are a little bit further out. Again, not necessarily in the next 1 to 2 years, but we need to always have a plan for all of those systems. So I would say that your facilities are well maintained.
I would
Thank you.
second that for sure. And I actually went to high school shortly after the big earthquake in LA way back. We did not have a cafeteria, we did not have a gym, and we did not have an auditorium. And so we survived on that. However, walking around the campuses here, because I am a gardener and I love green and things, the campuses look really well. Orange Glen, correct me if I'm wrong, was recently repainted, correct? I think that campus looks really good. So, and we had a deep discussion tonight on things about Orange Glen to make that an even better educational environment. So we're super excited as a board to bring that forward in the coming months and years. So unless there's any other questions. All right, well, thank you so much for that presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're on public comments and item E. We're going to get to the public here in just a second, but we do leave time for our unions to speak. And the first point that we left for is for a report from the California School Employees Association, Chapter 219. Do we have any people here that would like to speak to that? Very good. And then we also have left time. This is a privilege that we extend. Not all districts put this on the agenda. So is there a report from the Escondido Secondary Teachers Association, commonly referred to as ESTA? Since there is no one here, I think this is a good time for me to bring up something that I noticed 2 months ago in the presentation by one of the people from the union, and we were accused, the board was accused of not following legislative requirements as it related to dealing with teachers and their employment here. And it was a pretty harsh accusation. Last month, I actually got the transcript and passed it on to the superintendent and asked for a formal review from our law firm in regards to, did we in fact not follow protocol? As a board president, I find that if we cannot do that well, then we have real problems. And I never want to be accused of breaking the law or not following legislative protocols. So I want to stand here to defend superintendent, staff, and the other board members. With that said, we had an opinion drafted by F3 Law, who's our law firm. They're based in Oakland, California. And this is a memorandum that was drafted to us on June 8th. The title is Elimination of TOSA Positions for the 25-26 school year. The purpose of this memorandum is to provide the Escondido Union High School District Board of Trustees with a legal opinion on whether the district was required to include 35 teacher on special assignment TOSA positions on the certificated layoff resolution it passed on March 4th, 2025. For the reasons described below, the district was not required to include the 35 TOSA positions on the certificated layoff resolution it passed on March 4th, 2025. The layoff of certificated employees in California school districts is governed by California Education Code 44949 and 44955. California Education Code 44955 authorized several different types of layoffs, the most common of which is a reduction or elimination of particular kinds of service, known as PKS layoff. Here, the board initiated a PKS layoff when it passed its certificated layoff resolution on March 4th, 2025. The particular kinds of services listed on that resolution only included those positions held by employees who were to be notified by March 15th that their services would be terminated or reduced pursuant to the California Education Code 44949, subsection A1. The resolution did not include the 35 TOSA positions, since all certificated employees who served in those TOSA positions during the 24-25 school year will be reemployed during the 25-26 school year in a full-time equivalent position to which they are entitled and credentialed to teach. Considering all of these employees will be reemployed this coming school year, and the right of assignment is a managerial prerogative that belongs to the district, the TOSA's positions did not need to be listed on the resolution. Indeed, neither section 44949 or 44955 mandates that all particular kinds of service that will not be filled in the subsequent school year be listed on the resolution. Instead, the resolution need only list those positions held by employees who must receive a layoff notice as a matter of law because they will not have a position at all or will have a reduced full-time FTE, full-time equivalent position next school year. Positions that will simply not be filled next school year, particularly TOSA positions whose occupants are to be reassigned, are routinely not included on the PKS resolutions. Based on the foregoing, the district listed the positions it was required to list in order to effectuate the layoffs of certificated employees it ultimately laid off. The district was not required to include the 35 TOSA positions on the certificated layoff resolution passed on March 4th, 2025. They say, thank you for the opportunity to provide legal advice on this topic. If they can be of any further assistance, please let them know. So I just want to commend the administration and the cabinet and the staff for doing good work, knowing the law, and doing things correctly. So thank you for that. So now we get to the point where we are able to acknowledge comments from the public. And so I'm going to read this short list of time limits that the board has adopted. So, script for board meeting, public comment for items not on the agenda. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each non-agenda topic to 20 minutes. Generally, each person may speak for up to 3 minutes. At board discretion, in order to allow all persons to have an opportunity to participate, if desired, the board may reduce the amount of time per speaker when necessary. Upon conclusion of all public comments, or 30 minutes, the board will continue to the next item of business on the agenda in order to ensure the board can effectively and efficiently conduct the district's business in public at this meeting. In the event more time is needed for public comments on non-agendized items to ensure all those wishing to address the board have an opportunity to do so, the remaining public comments will be heard at agenda item J1. The Board of Education is prohibited by law from taking action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. The board looks forward to and encourages your participation. We have received cards from several cards from people who wish to make public comment during this meeting. So, since we do have quite a few, we are going to, you will be timed for 3 minutes and you'll be notified when that 3 minutes is up. So please be aware of how much time you're using. So, okay, so I have specific orders, specific order that everybody would like to. And the first person here listed is Allison Gillian. So please, you can come up to the microphone and speak into the microphone, and we are listening.
Good evening, Superintendent, Assistant Attendant, and esteemed board. I'm here to speak to you as a student, but also as a friend to Black students on campus who are being affected by racism, discrimination, and hate speech on campus. Although I'm not experiencing the racism by firsthand, I can see how it deeply affects my friends. Every time the N-word is said with no consequences, there's another student, another friend, and classmate of mine that is being hurt, like stabbed to another wound. One thing I know for sure is that by doing nothing and staying silent can no longer be an option. We are just kids, we're teens, we're students. There's not much that we can do when our peers are saying the N-word carelessly. I remember a time when 2 students walked up by my friend and called her dark skin in a disrespectful tone. I was stunned and I didn't know what to do. I felt guilty and anger and confused. I wasn't sure what to do, and all I could do was apologize to her, saying, I'm sorry that you have to experience that. I had asked her if she wanted to report it because there was a staff member nearby, and if we would tell them, it would be easily to identify the 2 students who made the comment. However, she did not want to make that comment, not because she didn't feel offended or she didn't care, but because she felt that the staff and the adults on campus will not handle the situation properly and seriously as they should. As her friend, it pains me that the only thing that I could do at the time was do nothing. It is sad for me to think that they have to experience these things on a daily basis on campus. and that I have to witness this and do nothing. The best I could do for them is attend a meeting with them, with the principal and assistant principal, talking how it feels to be their friend, seeing them being a witness of them hearing racist and hurtful comments towards them. That's all I could do. It hurts for me to see that the people I care about are being affected deeply and overlooked by the school. I wish for this matter to be taken seriously. Thank you for your time.
Allison, can I ask you what school you go to?
Orange Glen. Although it just pains me, but as you see my pain, it hurts them even more. I think they experience this every single day, inside and outside of classrooms. It should not be happening at all. School should feel like a safe and comfortable place for all of us, but it's not. I hope you hear all of us, my friends, with serious thought and take everything into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking. You were well said. We heard you, and we will be taking action. We have more speakers, and the second person on this is Relina Prince. And feel free to correct me if I've got your guys' names wrong.
And just please let us know what school you go to, all of you.
Evening, Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent, and esteemed board. My name is Relina Prince, and I'm a student at Orange Glen High School. My speaking portion is on student reactions to the usage of the N-word. We are here because we are suffering from the bystander effect. Although we've had meetings with the principal and assistant principal, we want to make sure we are heard. Everyone hears it and nobody does anything about it. On the contrary, I've heard people egg on others to say the N-word. Specifically, I've heard, "Oh, it's not that bad. I give you permission to say it." As if a Hispanic girl could ever give anybody the permission to say the N-word. The problem isn't purely just the people who say it, but the ones who think it's okay that they say it and do nothing about it. People who claim to be allies ignore the actions of their friends. When questioned about her boyfriend saying the N-word, a girl I know said she tells him to stop, but he says it anyways, and she simply shrugged it off. It is only a minor inconvenience to everyone else, something that gets an eye roll at best and then never brought up again. This has forced us to suffer in silence, sometimes feeling as if the only people who care about this is ourselves. It has made me believe at times that I am the only one who thinks these words are harmful, that I am the problem. It's become natural to ignore it completely, because I guess it's easier to ignore it than bring it up and realize nobody actually cares. We're suffering an uphill battle to be respected and losing. What we need is to make sure a plan will be followed through effectively to stop this harmful hate speech. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for speaking. So then next will be Essent King Copeland.
Hello, am I too close? Okay. Good evening, Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent, and esteemed board members. My name is Essence, and I'm a middle college senior at Orange Glen High School. I'm here to talk about how teachers and staff respond or don't respond to the usage of the N-word on campus. From my experience, I can only name 3 staff members who I have actually witnessed addressing the usage of the N-word during school time. Coach Tito, former bio teacher Mr. Scholl, who is no longer at the school, and Ms. Guerra, a counselor. Out of everyone, I still can't count 10 staff who I believe would say something when students use that word. Most either say, "watch your language," or clearly ignore it. and that is not okay. School is where we're supposed to learn, not just math or English, but how to treat people with respect. I see these adults more than I see my own parents, yet many of them don't protect my dignity. How do you think students learn when slurs are said in class and no one responds? I'm going to let you guess. My peer, Fatu, will also share more information about how even the administration has been part of this silence. This isn't just a student issue or a teacher issue. It feels like no one wants to deal with it. I will not say that they haven't done anything, but they definitely have not done enough. Fatu invited me to a meeting with Principal Santos, Vice Principal Riley, and others. It went okay, but I still felt misunderstood and that they were trying to defend themselves. I spoke to my parents about it, and we later set up a meeting with Dr. Casas, who truly listened and offered even more solutions. I could tell he was actually disheartened by what we shared. I want to take a moment to give him a sincere thank you, not only for listening, but offering additional solutions beyond what was discussed in the earlier meeting with the principal. A few days later, Principal Santos sent out a plan. It included things like the first 4 days curriculum, staff and student training, and clear consequences for using slurs. While this plan is a great step forward, we are asking you, the board, to make sure it actually happens, to oversee it, to be sure that a real change is made. I also want you to hear from us, actual Orange Glen students, about how we really feel. Just because we are a minority in a majority minority doesn't mean that we do not matter. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you so much for your time. Yes, we've heard you for sure. So we have some more speakers, and the next person is Fatu Gayi.
Good evening, Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent, and esteemed board. Today I will speak about admin's response to the usage of the N-word. My name is Fatu Gay, and I'm the founder and president of Orange Glen High School's Black Student Union, a space where anybody, especially Black people on campus, feel united, supported, and most of all, safe. This space did not exist before me, not because it wasn't necessary, but because nobody cared to create it. Administration doesn't care. Or sometimes they care, they put pressure on it, but then they take their foot off the gas and they give up because it's too overwhelming. It's gotten to a point where they feel like it's gotten so out of hand. They stop caring because this doesn't affect them. They're not the ones who has to deal with this every single day. This racism on their campus, and that's what this is, racism. I'm tired of this being belittled and them saying, oh, it depends on the context. In what context is racial slurs being used on school campus okay? I had a meeting with the principal about what's been going on and how it's been affecting me on his campus. I left that meeting I thought that I was heard. I thought that he understood, just for the next day for him to have a meeting with Relina and refer to me as my light-skinned friend's angry, unresponsive counterpart to her face. Not only is this one unprofessional to be talking about me in a negative light to another student, but it is also dehumanizing, dismissive, and extremely disheartening to be feeling like I'm not only being racially profiled by my peers, my students, but also my principal. If the students aren't listening, the teachers have to hold them accountable. But when the teachers aren't doing anything, I do expect administration to hold them accountable. Situations like what happened with my principal and him fitting me into this angry Black girl stereotype after I share my experiences with him on his campus is why I don't trust admin. I don't trust them. I don't trust to come to them when I'm experiencing racism on their campus, when I am hate crime on their campus. That is why I didn't want to come to Principal Santos when I was when somebody walked past me and yelled, "You're so Black." Principal Santos, I don't trust him. And that's why when he sent his email about all the things that he wants to do, they sound great, but I don't trust for him to actually implement them or implement them, care for a little bit, and then stop caring. That's why I need your guys' help to make sure that this is consistent change, to make sure that there is progress being made, because since I've been at that school, it has only gotten worse. This meeting was opened with the mission of our district. The EUHSD mission and vision uses phrases like empower every student, the pursuit of equitable support for all students to navigate a challenging world. We need your help to make sure this actually happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have one more speaker, but I just want the speakers to know that it's customary that we don't respond in particular to your things. However, you are in front of the board. This board and the administration clearly hears you, and we are going to take action. But just to let you know, although we're not able to really have a communication with you, your words are not falling on deaf ears, I promise you. I will be here. We're all here elected for the next few years, so we are here. Last person that's put in a speaker card on this is Antoinette Prince.
Me. I am Relina Prince's mother. I don't have a prepared speech, and as you can tell, they're all eloquent. They all speak clearly and have expressed their concerns. I wanted to be a parent that's showing support to them. Relina has brought up this issue to me and to her father, as well as the rest of our family. We have had children throughout the Escondido for the last 20 years. We've had 4 children graduate from Orange Glen. It was very disheartening that this is happening to her. I have 2 more children that are going to be going to Orange Glen in the future. So I want this to be known that it should be addressed, that even though from what Relina has told me that there's procedures in place that they're not being followed. And what she has said is that teachers will hear something and then say, oh, well, I didn't hear it. So she will go to the principal and tell the principal, have to have a meeting, put herself out there. They have been asked to explain their experiences and perhaps put themselves out there on videotape or messages to say how it should be done, which I don't think you should have a victim have to do that. It should just be done automatically, and there should be a procedure where if the teacher is not responding and not being productive in their classroom to address these issues, then they need to be held accountable for that. In no way should a child have to be bullied or discriminated against or just have anxiety about going to school or going into a certain teacher's classroom or any majority of their classroom. All of these girls are in middle college. They're highly educated. They know what they're talking about, and they are expressing this. Myself, I have gone through racial discrimination as I was growing up, so I know how they feel. And it's just not acceptable at any level, no matter what color you are, what race you are, or what your nationality is, any of that. So it should be addressed, and hopefully you hearing them will bring that to light, and that, the principal and administration of Orange Glen and all of the schools in Escondido have this brought to them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time as well. It's great to see the fathers out there as well. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Just to let you know on timing of things, we do not have any meeting in July. However, the administration does work over the summer. I hope I invite you back every month to speak to us. Like the littlest thing, you're not comfortable, I want you at that microphone telling us. Okay, so starting in August, please come back. I know you'll be excited. We're so excited that you're in the middle college, but I want to know at the board meeting, everything, a little microscopic offense, you bring it to us and you're invited back. So we're very proud of you. So thank you. So then we have another topic here. And so the next speaker will be Ryan Ross.
Hello, how are y'all doing today?
Good, thank you.
So my topic here is about the San Pasqual agriculture class. It is being planned to be canceled in the 26-27 school year, and it has been numbed down from its original classes 25-26 school year. Now, the FFA, Future Farmers of America, is more than about agriculture. It is about making bonds and friends. See, one of my fellow officers, they were a senior and they were giving a retirement speech. They said that when they first joined at the FFA, it was more than just about agriculture. It was a second family, new home. And when you take that away, it really affects people. So in my personal story, I'm originally from Oklahoma. And when I first moved here, I didn't find many people I could connect with. I couldn't find many people I could talk to, similar interests or things to talk about. When I first walked into that agriculture room my freshman year, I found people who almost the same interests in me. And I connected almost instantly with a bunch of people I would never think I could talk to. And when you take that away, it really hurts future students as well. Because there's many students like me who may not have a lot of interests in sports or their clubs. And so it's going to take away a lot of future connections, memories, and friendships. So that's why I believe that the FFA and agriculture class be kept in St. Pasqual, or at least the future freshmen. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing. The next speaker is going to be Jennifer Ryan. Oh, quick question. Are you showing any animals at the fair? Okay. Does that start tomorrow? Okay. All right. 'Cause I was going to buy a pig, but maybe it's too late. Okay, good. Well, thank you for that. All right, Jen.
Thank you so much, Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent, and esteemed board for taking the time to listen to our concerns. Brian Ross is my son and has been in FFA since his freshman year. And I have seen such an amazing growth in him as far as becoming more of a leader. He is going to be the FFA president next school year and is currently the recorder. I have seen him just blossom in his leadership role in his academics and wanting to take responsibility for those academics and seeing where he is able to excel in college. He has mentioned how it is a family feeling to be there and how many people who do not have a support system like he does has found this welcoming and a sense of love and respect from those who are in the his classroom. I am so happy that the FFA really pushes for the college bound and for having scholarships that are accessible for him, where he might not be able to get those scholarships because he is not in football or in any sport. And so it is important to me that he is able to have that chance that he would not have if it's not for the FFA. So I appreciate you all taking the time to listen because I just love what the FFA has done for my son. And it continues to grow in other states. And I'm hoping it stays at San Pasqual High School. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for sharing that. The next speaker, Terry Reynolds Ryan.
morning, good afternoon, good evening. We've had a long day here today, and I know that we're towards the end. I was a former Citizen of the Year of the Environment for the city of Escondido, and that's why I'm here for you tonight. The board has reported in the past keeping the FAA alive in our schools. San Pasqual is a unique school. It borders the valley of San Pasqual, which, as you know, is pristine, beautiful, and also supports livestock and agriculture. Students like the San Pasqual students that are in FAA are committed to thoughtful and want to protect the environment. They are our future makers that make decisions to help protect our agricultural livestock and also the environment to keep it safe. I know personally leaders from FAA that now work as bird curator at the safari park and also are in the food industries. These are future makers of caring about our environment, using productive fruits, and also protecting our livestock. I ask the board tonight for a thoughtful decision to continue FAA at San Pasqual High School. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for sharing. And the last speaker to this topic will be John Ryan.
I guess you could say I'm responsible for all that. Thank you. I didn't know about the FFA until my grandson, Ryan, was involved in it. And was just struck by the change in him in terms of his involvement in the FFA. To me, it has three distinct values. Distinguishes concept of leadership. You've got to be a leader if you're going to really contribute to the FAA. You don't just accept that you're going to be a participant in some way. You've got to be a leader. And it demonstrates to each of them what it is to be a leader. It's structured like a corporation. There's a president, vice president, treasurer, reporter, secretary. Each one of those individuals knows exactly what's expected of them and they are required to lead in terms of their positions. And they change their positions each year. They only serve as president for 1 year, vice president for 1 year. Second area that I think is very important is you understand responsibility. You can't just participate as a journalist. You've got to get active, and you are responsible for being there at each meeting, responsible for the various activities they have, such as contests with other FAAs, and your responsibility is really cherished by others. And lastly, opportunity. Harry spoke about the knowledge of kids who are going to school. I remember at a gathering to salute various members of the FFA, and the vice president, senior, graduating. He's going to go to Oregon State. That was very, very impressive. Out of her involvement in FFA, she had gotten a position to be a member of the student body at Oregon State. That just doesn't happen. California schools have agricultural departments which kids can apply, and with the background of FFA, they are highly regarded, highly sought after. I think with these three principles, it'd be a shame to no longer have FFA San Pasquale. And I would like to actively urge you to reconsider the decision.
Thank you very much. We have heard you guys, and I have talked to the teacher there, so we're dealing with that. So thank you. We really do admire and support the FFA. I mean, the way you guys dress, I'm always impressed with your jackets and ties, and you guys are always well mannered and polite. So we're managing what we need to do, and so you're heard tonight. So thank you so much. Let's see, and I guess we have another topic tonight. So we have two speakers for this topic. So the first speaker will be Jeff Wilson.
Good evening, Superintendent Peterson, Board Member Weller, and the rest of the board. I appreciate it. My name is Jeffrey Wilson. I am a certified athletic trainer, and I am the athletic trainer at San Pasquale High School. I'm just wondering, quick show of hands, how many of you actually understand what an athletic trainer does? Oh, okay. So the reason I've come before you tonight is to ask one of two things. Either just a conversation with the board, or to have you at least lay some eyes on our job description. We were denied reclassification recently, and I'm not sure if it even went before the board. But let me just briefly speak as to what our concerns are. The current job description for athletic trainers was approved by the board in 2010. Since then, there have been two critical assembly bills that have been passed in the state of California related to athletics. One is AB 2127, which is the concussion management law, and then the other one was just passed last year, which is AB 1653, which is the heat illness and cardiac care law. Neither of those are included in our job description. So our union rep always tells us and has sent multiple emails to us to tell us, do not work outside the scope of your job description. There are only 8 things that are included in our current job description. None of those have to do with concussion care or heat-related illnesses, which are both state laws. So the problem that we have is when we look at the current job description that we have, it is very difficult for us to work within the scope of our job description when there are 8 things, and we actually proposed a new job description recently, which has 28 different things. What we're asking for is a job description that reflects what we actually do, and not something from 15 years ago, which does not reflect the 2 current state laws that are in place. Secondly, there is under certificates and licenses, it says that we are certified by the National Athletic Trainers Association. There is no such thing. Okay, there is a National Athletic Trainers Association, which is a membership organization, and there is a National Athletic Trainers Board of Certification, which certifies us. If the member of the public wanted to express a concern about either of the 3 of us in this district, which that's all there is 3 of us, if they went to the National Athletic Trainers Association, they wouldn't be able to find anything. They couldn't complain that does not exist. So the job description is well overdue to be modified. And that's what we're asking for, because it causes us liability in terms of maybe acts of commission, acts of omission. It literally says we wrap ankles, fingers, or wrists. I mean, so we go in there and we say, well, if we stick to our guns in terms of what our rep says and we don't do any of these things that we do outside of it that's she says we shouldn't do, we can't do our job. So we're confused over here because we want to serve the needs of the athletes the way that we know how, the way that we're trained to. But then on the other hand, we don't feel like we should have to do all these other things that are included in here based on what we're getting paid, which is what Leah's going to talk about. So what we're asking is for a conversation that we weren't even involved in. I never was involved in any of the decisions based around this. So we need to go in there with a clear understanding of exactly what it is we're supposed to do, but we need a job description that reflects what we are supposed to do. So I'm asking for some sort of conversation or maybe some sort of review on that process as to what happened, because if you all know, there's no way our schools can live without the jobs that we do. We protect the student athletes. We have to really be pushed back to a lot of the coaches. And so what we do is provide safety. And so simply we're asking for a job description that reflects accurately what we do. And I appreciate you guys' time this evening. Thank you.
Can I ask some follow-up questions?
Of course,
If you don't mind?
absolutely.
Okay, so, and you're referencing the job description in your role as athletic trainer, correct?
Correct.
And let me also understand, because my freshman just registered for this class, you
Sure.
also teach a class on athletic training. Can you elaborate? I'm sorry, I need.
That's okay. That's a health related class that Miss Pastor is going to be teaching, because it's sort of it replaces the health. So it's requirement. So it's got some aspects of athletic training, but
But that's not what
it's
you're
not-
referencing. It's not in the teaching
No,
role
I'm
for
talking
that
about
class. It's
specifically
in
the,
your role as
correct.
the athletic
Yes.
trainer for the district.
Yes.
Got it. Got it.
Yes. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Leah Trulian. Close enough.
Good evening.
Thank you.
A little shorter than Jeff. My name is Leah Trevelyan. I'm the athletic trainer at Orange Glen High School, and I've had the pleasure of working with Escondido Union High School District from 2014 to 2020, and then again last year to this year. Jeff spoke on a few things. We did apply for reclassification, and we were one of 4 positions to be denied. And I just want to touch base on what's going on around the county, because our position is not represented at the district level, and we're not alone. It's not the only school district that does actually have representation of athletic trainers is Sweetwater. And in their case, all of their athletic trainers are certificated staff members. So it's a very different situation. So when we do apply for reclassification, it doesn't get recognized. But our profession was not how do I say this? Not regulated until recently in the state of California. So we were the only state, 49 states have licensure, they have protection of their title, and we didn't get that until recently. We also had a change in our education requirements to where you either need a master's or a doctorate starting back in 2021. And so we have all been applying for reclassification across the county since before then, and changes are being made now. We were actually the only district to be completely denied. Valley Center they went without an athletic trainer for nearly 2 years. They're 12 miles away from us, and they get paid $12 more an hour starting. That was reclassified after being vacant for nearly 2 years. Ramona, same thing. And then Poway School District just reclassified and also added an additional athletic trainer at each school. Oceanside approved an additional athletic trainer at each school recently, and they are still in talks about pay. That's going to be discussed at the next board meeting, but their new job description was approved and their new position was approved. Vista, San Marcos, and someone that I'm missing also were approved for their reclassification at some type of pay raise and change in job description. And so that's all been happening very recently. So I know that's what you guys look at, or not you, but I know that's what gets looked at when you're reviewing for reclassification. So it probably didn't pop up because they are all changes actively being made. And I do have, if you guys want, I have plenty of verbiage, facts, paperwork that I can send your way. I just wanted to kind of come talk. Additionally, I think what we do goes unrecognized because we are ensuring that policies and procedures that are in place, that we've put in place, and we practice and we review with coaches and we change and update as needed. We make sure that they're being followed, and that's why you don't always hear about us, because we did get somebody off the field before they had second impact syndrome and died. We did remove somebody from the heat before they were in the hospital for a heat stroke. Just this year, I had one of Jeff's, actually, a freshman soccer player. Freshman game, no admin, no nobody, just me. And a kid goes down and he ended up having a skull fracture and a brain bleed. He is okay. He can play again. That was his priority. But in that moment, when all of that was happening, I was grateful that I was there, because the coaches and the parents, the coaches actually let the parents on, and I had to regulate everything going on around me as well as care for the student athlete. And if it had been somebody else, or a lot of people just want to come out of the stands and help, if they don't know the right protocols, it may not have ended as happily as it did, because he did have a seizure sometimes. And when people wake up from seizures, they can be really agitated, and he was. And so had I not been there doing my job, he could have hit his head again. It could have been a lot worse. And I'm glad that it wasn't. I'm glad that's not the conversation we're having here today, but I think because it isn't the conversation we're having here today, that's why we are not recognized and approved when we do apply for reclassification. So thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you all for speaking tonight. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I did want to touch on the education portion. While we don't have the class Jason Foote does at Escondido, we do have students that work under us that we do teach. And I have one that's currently, she worked with me when I was here in the past. She's currently in the MSAT program, so getting her master's in athletic training at San Diego State, which is my alum. So we do have students that we educate. It is just not in the classroom setting. It's more of an intern position.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming before the board on that. We definitely value trainers. I know that I hurt myself skiing 2 years ago, and I could barely walk. And I saw a trainer at another high school who remained nameless, and he got me walking fully and skiing and running again within 3 months. So what you guys do is valuable, even though I'm a long time out of high school. So I just want to say we're aware of it. So thank you. So now we're finishing public comment. Do we have anything more?
All the speaker cards we have.
Okay. So then we're going to move on to section F, Educational Services Division. And earlier tonight on the consent calendar, we voted to consent approval for items number F1, 2, 3, 4 on the agenda. Those are all asterisks. So that brings us down to item number F5. And that is to approve the LCAP, the Local Control Accountability Plan, Parent and Family Engagement Policy, and local indicators. So, Superintendent, would you like to take that and put it in?
Allow Dr. Casas to lead on.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. President Weller and the rest of the board and Superintendent Peterson. Nothing new since the last time we met last Tuesday. But I'll give a quick summary of our process so that you can have a little bit more info and context for your vote. This represents the culmination of an extensive stakeholder input process, which included 4 educational partner committee meetings, 5 school site parent forums, 5 school site faculty staff forums, 5 DLAC committee meetings, 5 student forums facilitated by our student board members, 1 district-wide survey that we had over 3,000 participants in, 1 mid-year LCAP progress board presentation in January, 1 LCAP board workshop in May, 1 LCAP public hearing last Tuesday, and a draft of our LCAP has been publicly posted for a month for public input. We have received none. And it's also been submitted to the County Office of Education for compliance review and check. That has been done, and our revisions have been completed and accepted. Happy to report that the county has accepted that pending board approval.
Thank you, Dr. Casas. Comments, questions?
Thank you. I know it's been a lot of work that we've been putting into this.
And thank you to the staff that puts a lot of work in, the student board members, and everybody that provides input for this document. It's highly regulated document, as we all know. We don't all necessarily agree with the format or some of the way that we're evaluated through this. However, it is how we receive our funding, and so we must be up to date every year. And I just know that from having worked on a staff side preparing these kinds of things in the past, it's a lot of work. So thank you to all that worked on this. Thank you.
David?
I just want to say I learned a lot from this process, and you guys have done a bang up job. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Ryan, you still there?
Still here. No,
Almost 10 o'clock your time, so we'll try to get.
It is getting a little late.
Any comments?
I mean, not really. I mean, I know it is a huge undertaking, and appreciate all the hard work that's been done by the entire staff on this project. So, and the community as well, because it's a big part of everyone here in Escondido. So, again, thanks to all.
Yes, for people at home, this is what it looks like. This entire binder, several hundred pages, and after 2.5 years, I finally know how to read it. So I'm excited about that. I look forward as we do improve in our district to see the metrics, the goals increase from say 2% to say 5% or 8%. I know we'll get there, but thank you for what you've put into it. And I will continue to carry this around every week.
Wait till they put it in 12 font. You're going to really have a big, thick document then.
That's right. Exactly. All right. So then here again, it's a roll call vote. So I need a motion and a second, please.
Motion to approve the local control accountability plan, parent and family engagement policy, and local indicators.
I second.
First of all, that was really impressive from memory, Christy. I was impressed.
Might have been read.
All right. We will start the vote from Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Knight.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Durney.
Aye.
And Weller. Aye. All right. And also the California School Board Association meeting this year is going to be in Sacramento. So I'm going to walk across the Capitol and knock on the governor's door to talk about it. Okay. So here we are on item F6, approve curriculum revisions. Dr. Casas.
Yes, this is up for action. The first read was last month, and there's no changes since the last time we shared some details about these curricular revisions to the board.
Thank you, Dr. Casas. Any comments? Chrissy, go ahead.
Make a motion to approve curriculum revision listed here in CTE, ASL, French, dance, performance dance, and college career readiness.
I second.
All right, with that said, we'll call the vote, roll call, and we'll start with Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Knight.
Aye.
Trustee Vincent.
Aye.
Trustee Durney.
Aye.
And Trustee Weller is aye. Before moving on, I just wanted to say that Mike Byers, you're faithfully here every school board meeting. And it looks like you brought your son this time. So is that your son back there that with you? Yeah, well, thanks for coming, seeing what school board meeting, what your dad sits through. So what's your son's name? Carter. Hey, Carter, thanks for being here so late. You're doing a great job, man. All right, so we're going to move on to F7, which is first reading of course pilots. Did I miss one? We good? Okay. So Dr. Casas?
Yes, so these two are proposed pilots for the next school year. You already heard Ms. Funk present on a robotics pilot that we're working on. Excited for that. And the other new one would be PBL credit recovery biology. As a reminder to the board, this year we piloted PBL credit recovery math for math 1 and PBL credit recovery ELA in 9th grade. And as a reminder to the board, this just proposes and presents students and counselors and parents a fourth way to retake a class. And this is only available for students to retake. So current options exist for biology to retake biology during the regular school year if you failed at your freshman year, or number 2, take it during summer school, or number 3, to take it via campus online or Edgenuity. And this would be the fourth option for students. First read.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Any comments or questions from the board? Approximately, like, how many students are failing biology district-wide?
I'd have to get you the exact number, but in terms of biology district-wide is not as high as math or English. Certain schools have a higher fail rate than others in biology in particular, but it's not a district-wide massive issue.
Okay, thank you. All right, so this is a first reading, so there is no action to be taken on this. So then that moves us down to item F8, which is first reading for textbook adoption. And Dr. Casas?
Yes, this is me again. So this is a first read. This is a new edition of the textbook that we already use in AP Psychology. As a reminder for the board, AP courses must have a new textbook every 10 years to receive official AP designation by the College Board. Additionally, this textbook adoption process has followed our lengthy textbook adoption policy, which is Board Policy 61.1, which includes approval by our IPRC, which is a committee consisting of parents, staff, teachers, counselors, and administrators. It has been approved by the District Area Council, the Subject Area Council, those are known as DSAC and SAC. And the final step is, after this first read, is that we put a copy of this textbook available at our district office and our sites for the public to review.
So based on the fact that we're going to be dark in July, then we will not be seeing this back until August. If for some reason we did not approve it in August, how does that affect the AP Psychology for next year?
Well, potentially, if the board did not approve it, our course wouldn't be called AP Psychology, and the kids would not get the additional GPA point that you get for taking an AP course.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? All right, here again, first reading. So we move on to Dr. Casas one last time here under F9. And this is first reading for textbook adoption for, oh wait, we just did that one. Okay. Thank you for keeping me in line here. So then we're now down to G, Human Resources Division. Oh, what did I mean? Oh, F9, sorry, thank you. Okay, perfect. All right. Action upon recommended expulsion of these students for case numbers 7, 10, 11, and 12. And is there a motion?
Yes, I move to accept and approve the recommended expulsions of the accused students for case numbers 7, 10, 11, and 12 from June 17th, 2025 through at least June 17th, 2026, and to accept and approve the stipulated expulsion agreements.
Do I have a second?
Second.
This is a roll call vote. So we'll start with Trustee Williams. How do you vote?
Aye.
Trustee Knight?
Aye.
Trustee Vincent?
Aye.
Trustee Durney?
Aye.
And Trustee Weller? Aye. All right. So that completes that section. We're going to do section G now, Human Resources Division, and items. Oh, try my computer here. 1 second. Be right with you. So sections item 1, 2, we're taking care of upon consent. So now we're going to go to section or item number 3, and that is revise longevity step increments for management and non-rep. Dr. Good.
Thank you, President Weller. I am pleased to present to the board.
Thank you.
Welcome. I think I have one more swing at it then too. An action item to formalize and clarify longevity in management non-represented employees, that it compounds at year 10, 15, and 20, 2.5%, and that's for years of service in a management position here in EUHSD.
So I have some thoughts on this, but before we bring it to, well, actually, can I get a motion on this one and then we'll discuss it?
I move to approve it.
Second?
Okay, thank you. So we talked about this in closed session, and the total dollar value that we're talking about here is like $1,200, right? Dr. Good, I think it was like pretty minor.
It's negligible, but I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Phillips.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
That would be the dollar amount if it was not to compound, yes, would be about $1,312.
So I'm just curious, like we talk a lot about, perception and, doing things just for the perception of things versus making a real impact. And I'm wondering in front of, an open session here, if we could talk a few minutes about, we do give raises to teachers, and yet, our budget is being cut from the state and from the feds, and we're trying to, hold the line on funding, even though we have brought teachers back. And I'm wondering if it wouldn't be a good appearance that, although it is only, say, $1,300 that, on a budget of $130 million, that we don't revise the longevity to a compounding method, but we just do it as a linear increase to show the teachers especially, as well as the district, that we are aware of every penny spent in this district. So it'd be interesting before we take this vote to have other board members maybe share a little bit about what they think about that, if you want to. Well, there is no.
That's this one right now.
You're fine.
Sorry.
So we will call the vote, and I'm going to start the vote, and I am going to vote, and it's a roll call vote. I'm going to vote nay, that we do not revise it to increment or to exponential, but that's just me. So we'll move then to Trustee Williams. How do you vote?
Aye.
Trustee Knight?
Aye.
Trustee Vincent?
Aye.
Trustee Durney?
Aye.
And that motion carries. So then it will be revised. And then we move down to G4, Dr. Good, approve amendment of employment agreement to assistant superintendent. Guess I have something to read out there.
Yes. For approval of amended employment agreements. Level. Board President oral report of the salary and compensation contract. Right there.
Does it need to be read by the board president, or can I have other board members read it?
Delegate, under your authority, delegate it to another board member.
Okay, I will have Trustee Durney read the first one.
Assistant Superintendent Business Services Contract Amendment. The Brown Act requires that the governing board, prior to taking final action on an employment agreement, to orally report a summary of a recommendation for the salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits for local agency executives. The Assistant Superintendent of Business Services is a local agency executive, and a proposed contract amendment is before us this evening. The proposed amendment will extend the term of the assist. That's why you gave it to me.
No, I'm just fried from reading, but I can finish it if you want.
The proposed amendment will extend the term of the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services currently amended agreement, which would have expired on June 30th, 2027, to expire on June 30th, 2028. The amendment also states that the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services will remain on the Classified Management Assistant Superintendent salary schedule at range 43, step 6, for an annual salary of $231,617 for the 2025-26 school year, subject to management increase to be negotiated later. The Assistant Superintendent of Business Services will remain eligible to receive a $1,493 stipend for each earned master's degree and $2,985 for each earned doctoral degree, if applicable. In addition, the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services will continue to receive the health and welfare benefits which are provided to the district's management employees. Other fringe benefits included with the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services current agreement include 12 sick days, 22 vacation days per year, payment for membership dues in either the Association of California School Administrators or the California Association of Business Officials, and reimbursement for travel and actual necessary expenses while performing day-to-day duties for the district in accordance with board policy. Lastly, the proposed amendment memorializes the impact of the board's April 8th, 2025 action to increase the relevant salary schedule by 1.58% effective July 1, 2024, and issue a 1.5% one-time payment of annual salary for the 2024-25 school year in line with other district employees.
Thank you, Trustee Durney. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
I move to approve.
I second.
Very good. Call the vote. Trustee Williams, how do you vote?
Aye.
Trustee Knight?
Aye.
Trustee Vincent?
Aye.
Trustee Durney?
Aye.
Trustee Weller? Aye. And we're very impressed, so we're glad you're still here. It is a little after 8 o'clock. We've been sitting here for a couple hours. Can we take a 5-minute break just to give everybody just a little bit? Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry to put everyone else in suspense. So sorry. All right, we are back. Thank you for those who have remained. Again, we definitely need to give an award to Mr. Byers at some point for always faithfully sitting in the back there and listening. So this is item number G5, approve amendment to employment agreement to Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. I've given that to Trustee Knight to read.
I have to read the opening statement again? Yes, okay. All right. The Brown Act requires the governing board, prior to taking final action on an employment agreement, to orally report a summary of a recommendation for the salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits for local agency executives. The Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services is a local agency executive, and a proposed contract amendment is before us this evening. The proposed amendment will extend the term of the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services current amended agreement, which would have expired on June 30, 2027, to June 30, 2028. The amendment also states that the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services will be placed on the Certificated Management Assistant Superintendent salary schedule at range 43, step 6, for an annual salary of $231,617 for the 2025-2026 school year, subject to a management increase to be negotiated later. The Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services will remain eligible to receive a $1,493 stipend for each earned master's degree and a $2,985 stipend for each earned doctoral degree, if applicable. In addition, the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services will continue to receive the health and welfare benefits which are provided to the district's management employees. Other fringe benefits included within the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services current agreement include 12 sick days, 22 vacation days per year, payment for membership dues in the Association of California School Administrators, and reimbursement for travel and actual and necessary expenses while performing day-to-day duties for the district in accordance with board policy. Lastly, the proposed amendment memorializes the impact of the board's April 8, 2025 action to increase the relevant salary schedule by 1.58%, effective July 1, 2024, and issue a 1.5% one-time payment of annual salary for the 2024-25 school year in line with other district employees. With that being read, I'll make a motion to approve the amendment before us.
A second.
I'll second. Oh,
Any further discussion? All right, roll call vote. Trustee Williams,
aye.
Trustee Knight,
Aye.
Trustee Vincent,
Aye.
Trustee Darney,
Aye.
and Trustee Weller is an aye. So we congratulate Dr. Casas as well, and welcome back, and continuing to welcome, I guess. So now we're going to move to item G6, right? Yes. So this was to approve the amendment to employment agreement between the Escondido Union High School District and Mr. John Peterson, Superintendent. David Vincent, would you be willing to read that?
I'll try.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I have the right one.
Superintendent contract amendment. The Brown Act requires the governing board, prior to taking final decision on an employment agreement, to orally report a summary of recommendations for salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits for local agency executives. The superintendent is a local agency executive, and a proposed contract amendment is before us this evening. The proposed amendment will extend the term of the superintendent's current amendment agreement, which would have expired on June 30th, 2027 to June 30th, 2028. Amendment also states that the superintendent will be placed on certification management salary, superintendent salary schedule at range 1, step 3 for an annual salary of $94,201 for the 2025 to 2026 school year, subject to a management increase to be negotiated later. The superintendent will be eligible to receive 1,493 stipend for each earned master degrees and 2,985 for each earned doctorate degree, if applicable. In addition, the superintendent will continue to receive the health and welfare benefits which are provided to the district management employees, or other fringe benefits, including within the superintendent's current agreement, including 12 sick days, 22 vacation days per year, payment for membership dues to Association of California School Administrators, and one other professional or civic organization, and reimbursement for travel and actuals and necessary expenses while performing day-to-day duties for the districts in accordance with board policy. Lastly, the proposed amendment memorialized the impact of the board's April 8, 2025 action to increase the relevant salary schedule by 1.58% effectively July 2024 and issue a 1.5% one-time payment of an annual salary for 2024 to 2025 school year in line with other district employees.
Thank you, Trustee Vincent. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make
I'll
a
move to
motion to
approve.
approve. Oh, Ryan got it.
Okay, thank
I'll
you.
second.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second, so we'll vote. So Trustee Williams, how do you vote?
Aye.
Trustee Knight,
Aye.
Vincent,
Aye.
Bernie,
Aye.
and Weller. Aye. All right, that takes care of all our administrators, so we're very thankful for all you guys have done. Then we're going to move down to item number G7, initial proposal from the Escondido Secondary Teachers Association to the Escondido Union High School District for successor agreement 2526. And this is a human resources division. So Dr. Good.
Thank you, President Weller. Happy to present to you and the governing board as an information item, ESTA's initial proposal or sunshine proposal to the district for the 2025-2026 contract negotiations. ESTA's opened the 11 articles shown on the attachment on board docs.
And so this is, we don't have to vote on it. So for the audience at home that might not have opened that, basically, and Dr. Good, do you want to give a quick summary? I was going to do it, but could you give a quick summary of basically why it's laid out the way it is and why everything's listed there?
Yes, so in ESTA's initial proposal, they are requesting to open or to negotiate the 11 articles that are listed. Article 1, general provisions. Article 2, class size and staffing ratios. Article 3, evaluation procedures. Article 4, grievance procedures. Article 5, hours of employment. Article 6, leaves of absence. 7, safety conditions. 8, salaries. Article 9, employee benefits. 10, transfer and reassignment. And 19, Article 19, teacher induction program.
You know what I find fascinating about this, and it's late, and I'm glad I had you read that, and thank you for reading it. There's nothing in there about student outcomes. That's so fascinating. You know, after all these years, I'm finally like catching up to speed. I was like,
In other states, there are.
there are? Oh, is this like, is there?
It's based type in other states. I believe.
So, and so are we legislating, because this is theirs, not ours.
This is their proposal to us. It references the contract, the agreement between both parties.
I'd love to see them put another item on there about student performance and outcome. That'd be awesome, because I know they care, but it's just never debated or discussed and it's tragic. And so that'll be something that we have to continue to press on. All right, so that's that. Let's see. No action taken on that. So now we're down to Human Resources Division G8, information regarding board member requests for information on teaching and intern credentials. All right, Dr. Good.
1 minute, please. Get settled. So I'm here tonight to share information with the board following the approval of our declaration of need that we file annually with the San Diego County Office of Education, as do other school districts up and down the state of California. There were some questions that came from that adoption, specifically that the board would like to learn more about credentialing and about adding or subtracting universities from our list of approved universities. So to address that topic, I'm going to dive into these 4 areas. I'll review with the board very briefly the process an employee goes through to earn a teaching credential. I'll explain briefly the difference between student teaching, internships, and a teacher credential. I'll talk about the university partnerships and share who we partner with. And then I'll speak briefly about adding, eliminating university partnerships. Happy to take questions as I go, or I've reserved some time at the end for that as well. So the first thing to share with you is the process to earn a teaching credential. It starts with the teacher candidate completing a bachelor's degree from any college or university, really anywhere in the world. It need not be in California. It need not be one of the universities that was listed on the Declaration of Need. Then there's really 2 pathways forward from there with the bachelor's degree. A student could enroll in a California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, or CTC, you will often hear, approved teacher preparation program post-BA degree, Cal State San Marcos University. That is how their single subject program works. Get your BA first, then you enroll in this program. Or like I did when I was a teacher candidate, my BA and teacher preparation program occurred simultaneously. It was an integrated program. Whichever of those 2 pathways a teacher candidate follows, the next step is to either complete student teaching or to complete an internship. You saw interns, credentials, universities on that Declaration of Need. I'll talk about the difference of those 2 pathways here in a minute. Once a candidate successfully completes that aspect, student teaching or an internship program, they obtain a preliminary California teaching credential. There are other steps to follow once you're hired into the district. You've heard us reference induction or RISE. That is where a new teacher, new to the teaching profession, will clear their credential. It requires a different study, different presentation or projects that the new teacher candidate will fulfill. So here's the difference between student teaching versus internship versus a teacher credential. Most teachers that are in our classrooms went through this very traditional pathway. It's the most common step to obtaining a teacher credential. The teacher candidate spends approximately 600 hours, 18 weeks in a classroom, either observing initially through the latter part of their 18 weeks where they take full control over the classroom and act as the classroom teacher. They are doing that under the direct supervision of the university supervisor, as well as their teacher whose classroom that they have essentially taken over. This then happens, the student teaching process has happened essentially when the candidate has finished most, if not all, of their university coursework. I student taught attended the university one night a week for an hour as kind of a wrap up course. I had finished everything up until that point. However, there is a different pathway that a teacher can go, and that's the internship route. And you saw the internship credential as an option on that declaration of need from May. This is a very unique pathway to obtain the credential where the candidate acts as the fully paid classroom teacher. They take over the classroom from day one and are the teacher of record on day one of instruction. They work under the guidance of a university supervisor who will pop in and a mentor teacher who provides limited support on campus. Typically, an internship credential candidate is simultaneously attending and completing their coursework. Either of those two pathways finish, you obtain your preliminary single subject teaching credential. So this is a list of our university partnerships.
Dr. Good, quick question. You did say single subject, and right.
I did, because we're a high school district, so our teachers hold a single subject. They specialize in a particular area.
So if they were to get a second area, how long would that take, roughly?
You mean a secondary authorization, like teaching a different field?
Yeah.
It can happen very quickly through passing a subject area examination. We have several teachers that have done that. They may be hold a single subject credential in English. They pass the subject area examination in social science and continue both.
So it's not necessarily a years long, extremely expensive process, potentially.
It need not be.
Okay, that's good. I hope teachers know that, because I think our world and our society, flexibility is very big attribute at the current time.
Mm-hmm.
And so with where things are changing, you have something to say, Bill, or no? All right, thank you.
So back to the university partnerships, what you're seeing on the left in orange are the universities that we have solely a student teaching agreement with. So we will take candidates from those universities in orange to act as student teachers. On the right and in black, you will see the universities that we have solely an internship partnership with. And then in blue is where we have both a student teaching agreement and an internship agreement. And then the specific question that kind of generated this presentation was, how do we add or eliminate university partnerships? Adding a university partnership is a little bit more laborious than eliminating one, because it requires a signed written contract as terms, conditions, what each party is going to do. That can be a several month long process before we bring one to the board. And then to eliminate a university partnership generally simply requires a 30-day written notice from either us or the university partner.
Well, that was extremely helpful, actually. I appreciate that a lot.
Sure.
So were most of the student teaching and internship universities put on potentially because an individual teacher or intern or whatever was going there? We're like, oh, I think we should bring them on. Is that how they ended up on this list?
It can come from a variety of ways. It can be that we have somebody that wants to student teach with us. We would like to have them. We would enter into an agreement. I believe we brought one 3 years ago, very early on in my tenure here. I can't recall exactly which university it was now off the top of my head, but that's how we brought a couple to you. Others, it may just be the university likes to have a broad reach of districts that they work with to market these kids.
Does that follow the same path for substitute teachers?
No, substitute teachers are a little bit different, and that's a different authorization.
Okay.
They need not go through a specialized training.
Their training is in yelling. Hey, I noticed on here under San Diego County Office of Education, asterisk, special education only. Can you define that a little bit more?
Yeah,
please?
so we have, the school year that just ended, we had 4 interns with us. Our preference is to hire fully credentialed teachers. We rely on internship teachers, and that's why we needed the declaration of need, because we must have that on file with the county. We must specify how many approximately we may use in order to enter into an internship agreement with a university and with a student. We have 4 this past year. San Diego County Office of Education authorizes internships for special education students only. That's the only CTC approved program the county has. The reason it's only that narrow area is because there was a great need and remains a great need for special education teachers. The county's trying to fill that void by offering a pathway to a credential for people who are interested.
And sorry, I just thought of this, and hopefully this is my last question. So back on the page that talks about the process to earn a teaching credential. So it says complete a bachelor's degree from any college. The degree can pretty much be in anything, right?
Typically, yes, but I was a social science teacher. I also had a health authorization. Those were my 2 majors in college. I believe Dr. Casas was the same, particularly if you're going into a single subject route, because you have to have significant knowledge of whatever the subject matter is you're going to teach.
So then that next step there, could you like generally say how many years it takes?
So if it's the integrated program, it's going to take you as long as it takes you to get your BA, or 4.5, 5 years.
Got that, right.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And then if you're going to the post BA route, that's a year.
Okay. This is a lot easier than I thought, because you hear a lot of stuff and you read a lot of stuff. So when I say easy, it's probably not the right word. It's less arduous and time consuming once you've got your bachelor's degree to get it than I thought. Okay, this is good. Okay, thank you so much.
Other questions?
Yeah, and I'm not trying to take anything away from teachers. I'm just saying that, that we could open up, there's a lot of openings that we could do.
I would add, though, that when a prospective teacher is doing their student teaching, it's full-time work and they're not getting paid.
Oh, wow.
So they might find it to be rather onerous in that you're taking 6 months off your life. And it's very difficult to like have a part-time job in the evening while you're trying to be a full. And you have to attend coursework. There's usually one evening a week or something like that where you're your fellow student teachers.
Well, thank you for giving me that. I stand corrected. It is arduous. Thank you. All right. So then that finished the Human Resources Division. Are we going to be going back to Dr. Good anymore tonight? No? Well, then I guess we will not hear the term we're pleased to bring to your attention anymore from at least Dr. That's it. All right. Yes. All right. We're moving on to section. It's funny. We're moving on to section H, Business Services Division. And so that I'm not reading the entire thing, the consent calendar cleared us all the way down to item number 17. So Ms. Phillips, wait, who gets this? Is it Ms. Phillips? Yes, thank you. All right, you're on for 17, which is adopt resolutions R 2024 through 25/38, R 2024-2539, and the same years /40 for the school years 2025 and 2026. All right, I'm handing off to you.
These are annual resolutions that are required to bring to me state list staff that are basically authorized to sign payroll, vendor payment checks, or warrants, which is what they're technically called, and then authorize the replacement of those checks. So that's what you have, are 3 different that do that for next year.
And we saw these as a first read last month, correct? I think we did.
No, you saw a different resolution, just one. Normally we do bring them all together, but we waited on this so that we could add our assistant list.
Thank you.
Sorry, doctor.
All right, do we have any discussion on this? Since it's quiet, I will ask for a motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
With that said, call for the vote. So trustee Williams.
Aye.
Aye. Trustee Knight,
Aye.
trustee Vincent,
Aye.
trustee Durney,
Aye.
and trustee Weller, aye. All right, so that passes. And then we move down to item number 18, Business Services Division, approve the 25-26 final budget. I know that this has been presented to us several times, but Ms. Phillips, would you like to expand on that?
A quick, we shared last week, we're required to adopt an annual budget every year by June 30th. We gave lots of detail last week, completed the process. We've shared the assumptions, expenditures, the revenue that we're using to project at this time. And based on all of that, we do meet obligations all 3 years. Happy to questions, but I think all last week.
I would like to emphasize that we are aware that we are deficit spending, that we have been deficit spending, and that we are continuing to deficit spend as a result of COVID funds. And that although our first obligation is definitely for student improvement, which we're going to work on, we have needed to do that. So I know that years out, you've shown us in the various budget numbers that we're going to need to reduce our deficit spending, but we are aware of it. The public needs to be aware of it, and so far we're above our required reserve requirement from the state extensively, and so hopefully between the teachers union goals that they put to us, as well as other administrative changes, we're going to improve student outcome in this district. So thanks for putting that together. And so I need a motion and a second, please.
I move to approve the budget. A second.
With that said, trustee Williams,
Aye.
trustee Knight,
Aye.
trustee Vincent,
Aye.
trustee Durney,
Aye.
and trustee Weller is aye. All right. So then, let's see. We're now going to move on to district operations section I. And so I1 is adopt recommended revisions in board policy 3312, business services. Is that going to be for Amanda as well?
Yes.
Okay.
For very minor changes. And this is a second read, so nothing has changed last week. Last time you read them, but these were just revisions from CSBA and then bringing the board bylaw 9270 that you guys revised in September to reference.
All right, very good. There was discussion last month, so if people want to check it out, they can go on and look at the minutes or the YouTube recording. With that said, can I get a motion and a second to adopt this, please?
I'll move to approve.
To adopt.
All right, so Ryan's approve, and Bill, would you like?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, we'll call the vote. And trustee Williams,
Aye.
trustee Knight,
Aye.
trustee Vincent,
Aye.
trustee Durney,
Aye.
and trustee Weller is aye. So that is adopted. Then in district operations I2, this is a first reading of recommended revisions in board policy and administrative regulation 3311. Amanda, back to you.
So this BPNAR is, they're both on bids. And basically what's happening here is the majority of the administrative regulation is shoved into the BP. So what you see being added in the BP in green is basically mostly language from the AR that's being struck. So if you looked at them side by side, you see that language basically moving from one to the next, and what's not being mirrored there, the rest of it is the recommendation.
Any comments on this from anyone? All right, this is a first reading, so it'll be brought back in August for a vote. All right, we move down to item I3, and here this is under district operations to establish a board advisory committee. And the recommendation is to authorize a board advisory committee regarding a mathematics improvement plan, and appoint 2 board members to serve on the committee. All right, so let's discuss this and then we can, have a vote on this. Basically, if I'm going to summarize this for people listening, is that we've done some extensive research, and we thank Dr. Casas for providing the numbers, the entire staff, providing numbers on our math CAS scores, which is the 11th grade state mandated test for students and how well they're doing and their comprehension of math. And although we're doing better than many districts in our shoes, we're not at a level that we want. And so we thought that putting a subcommittee together would be helpful to bring in community input, other school input, and other things as well. And the last advisory committee, subcommittee, was on the ethnic studies, and that was a great success. So we'd like to do that again here on math. I have a question, Superintendent. Do we need to determine the 2 board members before we vote on this, or do we do the board advisory committee and then we can work on the 2 members from the board that would like to be on it?
It's certainly possible that you could authorize the creation of the advisory committee tonight and wait till the August meeting to board member. If you're not prepared tonight to. But we would have to bring it back for a separate action.
All right.
Wrapped it here, you could both.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would definitely like to be on it because I felt like I was a driver, and I know David has been writing quite a bit on this, and I would like to propose to the board that if we do approve this tonight, that Trustee Vincent and I sit on that advisory committee. Any thoughts on that, or? No thoughts?
I mean, assuming that I know that you both care about it, but assuming that the other 2 board members are agreeable to that, I would support that.
I'd be fine with that too.
Agreed.
All right. I think I heard Trustee Williams. So with that said, can I get a motion? Oh, sorry.
I'll make a motion to establish a board advisory committee as described in the, as described here in the description, as well as appoint 2 board members to serve in that advisory capacity, and that would be Board President Bob Weller and Board Member David Vincent.
Okay, second. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. With that, we'll call the vote. Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Knight?
Aye.
Trustee Vincent?
Aye.
Trustee Durney?
Aye.
Trustee Weller? Aye. All right, David, I'll be over on Friday night for dinner and we can start talking about this. Yes, he will not be here. All right, district operations. Thank you. By the way, thank you, Superintendent, for drafting that. And thank you, Dr. Casas, for allowing us to kind of just hopefully be an effort that really improves it and kind of helps you, fulfill that with the district. So thank you so much. With that said, okay, we're now going to do a proclamation. So each month I know that the superintendent has brought forward various proclamations for nurses and teachers and all sorts. And I was very impressed that the Federal Department of Education decided to put a proclamation forward for the month of June for Title IX. And Title IX has made such a difference for women and women's sports. And with all the controversy going on, I thought it was important that we also recognize what the Federal Department of Education is doing in this regard. I will read this proclamation, and as Dr. Good would say, I am pleased to bring this forward. Whereas Title IX of the Education Amendment was signed into law on June 23rd, 1972, and that states, quote, "No person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from any participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. And whereas Title IX has played a transformative role in expanding access to education, academic programs, and athletic opportunities for women and girls, fostering greater equity across the educational landscape. And whereas for 53 years, Title IX has served as a cornerstone for advancing the rights of women and girls in schools, colleges, and universities across the United States, including our own district. And I'm grateful for that. And whereas the Escondido Union High School District has long implemented the provisions of Title IX in all its programs and remains committed to providing a learning environment free from discrimination. And whereas the ongoing impact of Title IX can be seen in the increased participation and achievement of women and girls in academics, leadership roles, and athletics, shaping a more inclusive and fair educational environment for all students. Whereas since the passage of Title IX, the number of female high school athletes in the United States has grown from fewer than 300,000 in 1972 to over 10 times, well, that's not in there, I was doing the math, to over 3.4 million today, reflecting one of the law's most visible and celebrated achievements. Whereas the Escondido Union High School Board District of Education reaffirms its commitment to upholding the principles of equality, safety, and opportunity that Title IX embodies. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Escondido Union High School District Board of Education, in conjunction with the United States Department of Education, does hereby recognize the month of June as Title IX month. In honor of the 53rd anniversary of this landmark legislation, and encourages our schools and community to reflect on its positive impact and continued importance in achieving education equity. So I'm very proud of this. I also will be driving to Orange County to share my thoughts with CIF on Saturday to protect girls in girls sports only. Let's see, with that said now, we get to move on to, oh yes.
Need to take action on that item. So with that, I'd make a motion to approve the proclamation recognizing Title IX.
I second.
Very good. And so we'll call the vote. So Trustee Williams. Trustee, hi, Ryan, you out there?
Yeah, sorry, I had to grab the mute button.
No problem.
Yeah, aye.
Thank you. Trustee Knight,
Aye.
Trustee Vincent,
Aye.
Trustee Durney, aye, and Trustee Weller, aye. Thank you all for doing that. And so then we're coming to board member reports and comments. And since Ryan, it's late for you, you can start.
Yeah, no, I'd say a handful of things here, and also just kind of keeping it short at the same time. Congrats to our employees here who have just gotten their contracts renewed. Appreciate all the things, great things that they do, and appreciate and looking forward to another year working with them. Also, you know, it's the end of the year. Also had a great time at all the graduations. I do love that experience, and be able to see all the kids and all the work and how also honestly how proud the teachers are of the students. I kind of think I believe I probably almost enjoy that part just as much, because you kind of really see the love and the connection and the care that the teachers do have, and all the staff for the great students that are here in our district. So proud to be part of that, and proud of the district itself. So those are my thoughts for tonight.
Trustee Knight.
Just thank you to everyone for a great school year. I wish everybody an enjoyable vacations and time off to enjoy family and travel, whatever it is that you do during the summer. Enjoy that, and we'll keep working through the summer for those that are still here. And that's all I have. I don't have much of a voice left anymore.
Well,
Dr. Vince.
you guys got 3 hours. I want to thank everybody for a great year. I had a great time. I learned a lot being on the ethnic committee and that. Also, I want to say that I'm very proud to be a part of this board. We got a great organization and the cabinet, we all work really well in sequence in that. And I often want to express my gratitude to the teachers. They've done a phenomenal job. I echo Ryan. I really love the graduation. I really enjoy that, being able to hand out diplomas. That to me is a highlight. And also serving the staff tacos, and that another. So I have to say that I hope everybody has a safe, wonderful holiday, and I'll see you all in August. Thank you so much.
Trustee Durney.
And of course, I loved graduation too, just like everyone else said. Had a great time at Del Lago, Escondido Adult School in Valley. I really enjoyed some of our year-end events. Saw a lot of student presentations, dances, cars, farms, shows, outstanding stuff from all of our students and scholars. And Bob, I think you said something about you want to buy an animal at the fair or something
I
like
need to
that.
Get out there, and I'd like to buy.
Let's talk.
Okay. All right.
Going on that with you.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. And so then for my comment, two things. One, before I forget, it was brought to my attention that somebody would like to go back into closed session to have some discussions in there. So we'll be going back into closed session. And there was something else I was going to say, and I can't remember it. So I guess I can just pass it on to the superintendent.
Very good. Thank you. Before I launch into my prepared superintendent's report, in addition to commending Mike Byers for faithfully attending all of our board meetings, I'd also like to commend our supervisor of maintenance and operations, Marco Miranda, sitting next to Mike Byers. He also attends all of the board meetings, and I appreciate the fact that they take an interest in the governance of the district and board meetings.
Let's not forget Kelly sitting there by herself.
Yes. Kelly is
The
also
champ,
frequently
thank
at our
you.
board meetings. Thank you, board members and cabinet, for your support at the commencement ceremonies this year. It was wonderful celebrating the class of 2025 at Escondido, Orange Glen, San Pasqual, and Del Lago Academy, along with Valley High School, and before that, Escondido Adult School. This year we had 1,661 students graduate. That's 100 more than last year. Thank you to all of our staff for helping our students be college, career, and life ready. Even though our students are on summer break right now, we have a lot going on. Summer school started yesterday, and we have 1,700 students enrolled in the morning session and 300 enrolled in the afternoon session. Just so you know that our CTE programs have some life in them over the summer as well, our CTE culinary teachers and advanced culinary students are hosting elementary students from our feeder district in the first ever CTE Culinary Youth Summer Camp. Participating students get to experience the basics of food safety, cooking 101, get the opportunity to cook delicious meals made from scratch.
I wanted to note your pun of talking about the feeder district into that. So that was excellent.
And speaking of food, our Student Nutrition Services Department is busy too. Yesterday, they started providing free breakfast and lunch to anyone aged 18 years or younger at Washington Park, which will continue 5 days per week until August 8th. They will be providing free lunch at Grove Park starting next week and running through the month of July. So you can see that our students and our nutrition staff are staying busy, but so are many of our teachers who are using this time to grow professionally. We have a number of AP teachers learning to improve their craft at AP by the Sea. Last week, our Ed Services team sponsored summer jams, workshops for teachers on matters to improve their construction. We have teachers attending the Avid Summer Institute. We're gearing up to hold a summer math symposium, professional learning event for our math teachers in August. Just as teachers are growing, last week our school site administrators and many district level administrators met for 3 days for professional learning to work on plans for the upcoming school year, including calibrating the work done by all of the professional learning community throughout our district. With that, I'd like to wish everyone a great summer and express my gratitude to the staff who will continue to work over the summer months. Their efforts are seen and deeply appreciated. I hope they also find moments to pause and reset. Thank you.
You want to say dates to remember? Or should I do that?
Sure, we can do that. This week on Thursday is the June holiday, so all schools in the closed, as well as the 4th of July. All schools closed. And we'll meet again for our regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, August 5th, 2025, right here.
And when we come back, this boardroom's going to look a little different. We're going to have a new dais where it allows us to be actually looking at each other. Since I was trained in the governance that it's our meeting, we're supposed to talk to each other face to face more, and the public is invited. So I'm looking forward to seeing that new dais. And so then, are there any remaining, moving to J1? We do leave time for public comments, any non-agendized items, and it does not look like anybody's here to speak. So we're now going to be excused to close session. And do I have to adjourn the meeting? Can I adjourn the meeting now, or do I have
What we're doing is we're moving from open session to closed session. And then when we're done with closed session,
we'll come out.
We'll come back out.
Okay.
To adjourn the meeting. No action is anticipated to happen during closed session.
Okay. Thank you.